Okay, Brett, we're back on part 5. I'm going to show you how this would go around here. I'm not going to glue it to this actually, but I'll show you how that goes together. Um, I think the best material that you can use on this is a kind of an odd product, but it's one I've been real successful with. And it's this one called Shoe Goo. Comes in a clear now, which is kind of nice. And it's a very tenacious glue, sticks to just about everything. Steel, it'll stick to leather, it's made for leather, and rubber, and maybe even the urethane might be a solution for you on that. So I think this is the most tenacious glue that I have right now. I do have a couple of more here. This one by 3M, Plastic and Emblem Adhesives, made for outdoors. It glues the emblems on your car. If there's no pins, or even if there are pins, you can glue those emblems on the car. You can glue the trim strips on with it. It's a very good adhesive and good for outdoors. And then this one here is a contact cement. Contact cement, this is the original, has volatile thinners in it, so that it's a very tenacious type of contact cement. The key to this weldwood contact cement is that you need to put it on the back of the leather, let it dry, then put another coat of it on the back of the leather, and then one coat of it on here. Let it dry to where it's just not sticking to your finger, and then you would line it up on your seam and you would put it around. You would have these would already be glued, so as you lay this down you would force it together not only around but sideways, and you can see how the seam disappears in there. So whatever glue we use, you're going to wrap it around the same way. You have some fiberglass strapping tape that can go on there. You probably can just hold it with good quality masking tape. This is a blue, so it doesn't deteriorate in sunlight right away. And just wrap it around there real tight. Maybe have a help from Chris, and get that thing glued and let it sit. If you use the Shoe Goo, it's an overnight operation. If you use this particular weldwood glue, you decide that that's what you want. That one is an instant stick, so you're going to actually take your rubber mallet and you'll tap this on here real hard with that once you set it in the right location, and it'll be fixed. Plastic cement, emblem cement, that can also work just like the Shoe Goo. My recommendation is give this a shot first, and it's not a contact cement, so you have some time to slide it around on there and get it fit and put it on the scarf joint seam. I lost my part now, Brett. I know it was here. Oh, there it is. Slipped around the corner. So I lost my part. So anyway, but you come here and you would put the Shoe Goo on the back. I would probably put it on the back of the leather, get it on there good and nice, and then slide it onto your part, wrap it around. It's going to be a little messy. Make sure you have Shoe Goo on both of the splice segments, and again, with a little help, you probably can get that taped off. You can use the strapping tape, really strong. You can pull tension together, make sure this joint is together firmly, and you're going to have a nice job with that. Now, let's see what's happening here. We've been soaking this. It's maybe 15 minutes, so not very long. But let's see if we can stretch it on now. Oh wow, goes right on there. And so I would use it, I would take another stitch on this baby before I put it on there, because I can see how much it stretches, and it stretches a lot. I want it to just barely squeeze on there. I'm going to let it dry. It will shrink maybe 3 days or so. It'll shrink down. Whether we glue it or whether we wet it, we got to get it really dry, and then we're going to use snow seal. The snow seal is going to go into the leather. This is a beeswax type material. We use it on boots to waterproof them, and leather equipment that's outside. And so that's going to be nice. Now this particular seam, I put it on the outside, but that's not the way that you're going to sew it. You're actually going to put the seam on the inside. So it means that we would have sewn it like this, so that the fuzzy side was out when you sewed it. And we put the seam on the inside because what we'll do is we'll put a little groove in the striker itself where that seam could fit in there. So I'm going to slide this on again. I would do it like that, but this seam now would go down into that striker, and we would have the smooth surface on the outside as you do it. So we'll flip it back over, but that's how that's going to go in there, and would go in that recess. All right, so there's your leather. You let it shrink maybe 3 days, 4 days, maybe a week. You got to get all the moisture out of it. Then you're going to take your snow seal, rub in 4 or 5 coats of it. I like to put it in and then heat it a little bit with like a hair dryer or a heat gun just far away, or just put it in the sun, and it should work for you, and it will warm itself and allow you to put another coat on, and you want to soak it up with that and get that to go. One last thing that we can talk about, and that is we mentioned about putting more than one strip together. So I'm going to do that right now. I've got a 1-inch strip here, and let's see, I've got a 1-inch strip here, and if I wanted to put another strip together, maybe I want to put a strip on the inside of this one, and I'm going to do that. I'm just going to cut me a piece. Here we go. We'll make a 1/2-inch strip to go on the inside of it. Here we go. And you'd want to do this before you put your scarf joint in and all of that, so that it got scarfed also. But now what we can do is we can stitch this in the center, and you can see what that's going to do for us is it's going to give us a little contour as we make this happen. See how that looks right there? So you get a nice little contour on it. And we just run a seam down it. Let me go do that right now. We'll run that seam. CN6.